This might be the most practical AI tool that we have, and nobody talked about it. And human-like instant voice assistant. Imagine talking to AI like a human, literally having a conversation. What do you like about this podcast?
That sounds great. The Law Entrepreneur Podcast is well regarded for its insightful discussion on the business side of law.
What are like some of the data sets that I would start to kind of think that AI might provide some type of application to?
And that comes down to kind of AI readiness. And I think even before we can get to collecting the data, I think it's be very prudent for lawyers and law firm owners to start incorporating kind of AI policies into their retainer agreements and into their terms of use and privacy policies, and put that in there. Again, artificial intelligence, if you just Google artificial intelligence usage policy, I'm looking at one right in front of me right now. It's kind of touches upon, data privacy, that, potentially, using the data for training, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's crucial, again, for lawyers to start putting those in there, to start looking into those and proactively doing that now. I think that would be step number one, AI readiness.
I wonder to what degree the bar associations are having or helping to provide that something of a template. My general sense is they are all many times frequently a lagging resource.
For sure. And I would assume 98% of the state bars are probably behind on this. There could be some that are very proactive on it, props. But yeah, usually it takes time, as you said, just agencies and government just notorious for being late to the game. So, but again, that doesn't mean you not being proactive, finding other resources and doing it. But that'll be my step number one, is make sure that's all added into your retainer agreements and terms of use and privacy policies. Second is, again, I think put into the perspective is like, what information did I have? Well, for the most part, you have your law firm. So I don't know whether we want to get into like what kind of data you can pull out from your law firm. Maybe we could dedicate a whole episode to this. But whatever that means for you, whatever data that you have that's associated with your law firm. And I know this is like a very hot topic, and it's also could be very controversial. And I do think we should probably dedicate a whole episode to this, because we could look into both sides and argue both sides and see,
Exactly. So for instance, when somebody says to me, who is your ideal client? I know who that is anecdotally, because I work with all of them. But if I asked an AI engine, what are the common traits or common factors of my ideal clients, or what are the most prevalent, I think I might gain some insight into who really is my ideal client, or who makes up the largest segment of my client base. Is that kind of a practical application?
Totally, 100%. And I've actually done this kind of exercise to help me figure out who I am. But yeah, it could definitely be applied to, who are your clients, and it fills in the holes. It also affirms and also gives you context of who will be similar, which is what a lot of people miss. I got these people down, but who are similar, that have the same common characteristics, that could also have the same problems as these people. And now all of a sudden it exposes you to this new subset that you never even considered. And for whatever reason, there's an association there, and that could also be applied. And that's actually one of the strategies of scaling is, going horizontal, basically taking the same recipe and just going, not the same practice, but different practice types or different niches, things like that. So yeah, totally. At the very least, affirmation of what you already know best is very valuable too.
Yeah. Well, you gain insight, the further you dig into the data you have. And I think particularly for solo and small firm practitioners, we don't systematically do that analysis. We've internalized it because we're hands-on. But as you start to scale and grow, I think you have to take a more systemic approach to doing that analysis. And that's where I think I see the opportunity. You kind of confirmed that for me. So I mentioned that I've just started to dip my toe into this and kind of get hands-on. And I did download the new version of ChatGPT. It helped me write a song. I really had a lot of fun with that, asking it to write a particular song around a particular series of events. So I could see really kind of that application. So tell us a little bit about your observations with this new release.
So this is OpenAI's ChatGPT 4 update that was announced on May 13th. So what this is basically ChatGPT's new flagship model. It's not ChatGPT 5. It's not like a complete huge change, but it's as big change as it gets. So what are the changes? Number one is 2 times faster. Which if you're, somebody uses ChatGPT on a daily basis, that's one of the things that's kind of annoying. You're sometimes like waiting. We're so used to quick little Google searches, we kind of expect the same. Well, guess what? Now ChatGPT is literally as quick as Google. You press enter, you straight up just get it. So that's the first big update.
Yeah, that was stunning to me. Okay, when I said write me a song that deals with breaking up and on a Friday, in Honolulu, and there it was.
And that makes you want to use it more because you're more likely, right? The instant gratification just makes you want to conversate more. And that leads to the second updates, which is human-like instant voice assistant. So imagine...
Yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
Imagine talking to AI like a human. No lag, literally having a conversation. It's a little bit awkward in the beginning when you use it, but it is amazing. And as you shared, Neil, for the most part, this could be used on your phone. And actually, this kind of ties back to the legal space. About 4 months ago, I attended ABA Tech Show, and obviously the theme was, at least a lot of the subjects was about AI. And I'm like, okay, let's see what's going on. And at the ABA Tech Show, and went through 3 days of the conference, and I realized nobody talked much about ChatGPT, let alone ChatGPT, the mobile app. And for me, somebody who uses AI a lot, the ChatGPT mobile app was, I think, like one of the biggest breakthroughs. Having quick access to AI, that instead of Googling something, I actually ended up a year ago, I replaced my Google on my home screen with ChatGPT to get myself into the habit of using ChatGPT more. And, I've been using the mobile, but along with the mobile app comes this cool little button. If you're watching a video, you can see it. If you're not, if you're on a podcast, go download just search the App Store for ChatGPT. And then once you log in, right next to the keyboard, you'll find a little headphone icon. You click on that and you'll enter into voice mode, and where you're able to speak and say, hey, I'm doing an episode with Neil Tyra on the Law Entrepreneur podcast. What do you like about this podcast?
That sounds great. The Law Entrepreneur podcast is well regarded for its insightful discussions on the business side of law. Neil Tyra does a fantastic job of bringing in knowledgeable guests and exploring practical topics that help lawyers navigate the complexities of running their practices. What aspect of the podcast are you most excited about discussing?
What were the top 3 themes that Neil Tyra talked about with his guests?
Neil Tyra's podcast, The Law Entrepreneur, often covers themes that are vital for legal professionals looking to run successful practices. The top 3 themes discussed with his guests include 1, entrepreneurship in law. This theme focuses on the business aspects that lawyers typically do not learn in law school. It includes managing a law firm, marketing strategies, and transitioning from being just a lawyer to also being an entrepreneur.
And on and on.
Wow.
So, yeah. And again, people are just not used to interacting, but little by little. Yeah, it's pretty spot on. I know for me to prepare for these podcasts, I wanted to look up, when did I do the episodes with you? What were the topics we talked about? Who were the most popular guests? What were the most popular themes? It helped me, like, within a very quick amount of time, do some quick research to be able to be well prepared. So yeah, totally. So that's the second, that was the biggest update. The third is higher limits when it comes to the amount of inputs that you could add into ChatGPT. So back in the day, it was kind of limited by this many number of pages of PDFs. Pretty much now it's essentially, as much as anybody's concerned, unlimited. You could drop a 100-page PDF document and it's instantly, it's able to analyze it, give it the top 3 takeaways. So, you could be able to save a lot of time. So those are the kind of like the 3 biggest things that came to ChatGPT. And I would say more importantly, it also became free. So ChatGPT 4 was kind of behind the paid plan with ChatGPT Plus for $20 a month, which was, I think, one of the best worthwhile expenses you could have for your law firm. But now it's free. So nobody has any reasons not to get on it. So just a call to action. Number 1, go download the ChatGPT mobile app. Number 2, go bookmark ChatGPT, put it on your bookmark. And number 3, go download the ChatGPT Mac app. They have released it. They haven't officially, they'll let you download it, but when you click on it right now, I think it will be released probably in the next couple of days. It says you don't have access yet, but that will also be game changing, because one of the good parts about the desktop app, Neil, is it allows you to pin it to override any window. So what I'm going to do as soon as it's released, I'm just going to have it on my computer, on my monitor at all times. Literally, it'll be my little companion, and actually has components where it's able to read screenshots and your screen and things like that. So as you're working, you have to just click on it and say, take a screenshot of this window and, analyze it, or do that, or what's the plan, or whatever that is.
Yeah. Well, one of the other things I think that I understood this new version was it very much strengthened the visual analysis. So it can not just work on recorded voice or memorialized text, but also can be applied to analyze images. And to me, that's astonishing.
And nobody at ABA Tech Show talked about this at all. Which drove me insane. Like, there's a 3-day conference with probably 60 speakers, and nobody mentioned the ChatGPT mobile app. Like, this might be the most practical AI tool that we have, and nobody talked about it. And that's when I realized, I'm like, okay. I'm like, maybe in this super early innovator, yeah, we're going to jump on this. And again, extra value for you being here to getting these insights, because me validating the space, the space is 99% behind. So let's take advantage of this opportunity.